Hello, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Sun. My name is Grant Ellis, and my picture is not on the overlay. Riddle me this, Grant man. So, in order to do this, I'm going to add myself. Thank you all for waiting for pro streamer Grant Ellis to get with the program. I added everyone but myself. While I do this, why don't we go around and introduce ourselves to the audience tonight? Thank you all so much for joining us. And why don't we begin with WebDM Jim? Hi, Jim. How are you? Nom 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 nom. I should be on the screen now. I haven't keyed out my green screen, and that's because my light burned out. You're muted. Yes, you are.
I am.
We're off to a rocky start. My name is Grant Ellis, and this is Invisible Sun. You've all heard my intro before, and now that I'm on the screen and Jim Davis is unmuted, he has had a completely unweird day. Jim, why don't you go ahead and reintroduce yourself to the audience, since you, in fact, had no voice last time that they could hear.
Voiceless. Now I find myself with a voice. That's great. I was explaining to everybody in the audience who was listening right now that I was having a normal day, and that was odd for me. And I was excited to get back in this game and excited about getting my hands on a black cube at some point. So, awesome. Let's play some Invisible Sun.
That we will. And playing Babylon is TK Johnson. Hi, TK. How are you?
It's me! I'm very excited. Hope I don't die, but I just want to take like 2 seconds to remind you that I didn't kill you yesterday. And I just want you to remember that. The mercy that I showed you, because Grant Ellington was such a sweet soul. I can get him a new wife. Just like think about that.
I thought I heard considerable mocking.
Not from me.
Not
That
from
was
you at all.
James.
And I'm James Intricasso. You're going to
Yeah.
see this one day. And Rudy Basso. I know where you both live.
Wow,
And your
that's
days are
weird.
numbered.
This is weird.
No, it's not. We're all friends. No, those guys are awesome, and that was a very entertaining show. But no, you guys didn't kill me. I was somewhat embarrassed, but I loved every second of watching that episode. So yeah, TK spared NPC Grant's life. And
You and your 12-pack.
You know, I live by the motto, why have a 12-pack when you can have the whole keg right here? So I'm packing a gas tank in the front. Yes, Darcy in chat. So we're threatening Intricasso and Basso now. We're here for it. That's what those guys are great. But I look forward to seeing how Babylon deals with the spidering that she's currently afflicted with. Also returning this evening is Jordan Shively, The Abyss Rises. Hi, Jordan. How are you?
Hi, how's it going? I'm looking forward to dealing with my necktie, which apparently became spiders after I went through so much trouble to get dressed up for Magic Prom. So we'll see how that goes.
Indeed, indeed. So, in Armida, who is not here tonight, has been replaced by the lovely, wonderful, and incredible Kika Della Rose, bringing her character from the Saturday game, Star-Crossed Rose in the Garden of Midnight, to Unearthly Twilights. Hi, Kika. How are you?
I play in the Monday game, Grant.
Oh! Well, you were in the Saturday game, too.
Oh.
You're in all 3 games! I did a side scene with Kika, the Saturday game, then the Monday game, now the Wednesday game. She probably filled in on, like, Tuesday's show at some point, which was a couple weeks back.
Is that like getting an Invisible Sun EGOT or something like that? If we get on all of the games, do we get something extra special?
The I think you need. I think that rivals D&D sports. You get some special accomplishment.
Oh my god. Is it $5,000? That'd be awesome.
I do need the money.
Our team goes up against them, and we use our bizarre actuality powers. So go ahead and introduce yourself for this audience.
Hi, I'm Kika. I'm playing Tumult, the bass playing Vizsla, who is a weaver and whose forte is wanders in delirium. Even though I'm now going to be on all 3 shows, my character isn't super fully developed yet because I just got started playing. So I'm excited to see where things go.
Yes, interesting to note that your character and TK's character are both weavers of the same cell.
Yes.
So, interesting. Last but not...
TK's character would know me as the weird one.
Yes.
Wait. TK thinks you're the weird one? I mean, Babylon thinks you're the weird one?
Not invited.
If we're going to be perfectly honest, you're all weird. It's just varying degrees of weirdness. She's not like you nerds. She's cool.
She says with her baby doll teeth and big flat face backing away into the shadows.
Probably not. She's like have her baby doll teeth knocked out right now. She's like almost unconscious. Poor baby.
Oh no.
That's right. You have like 2 wounds, right?
She's pretty beat up.
Yeah.
Look, it's been a hard day.
So, last but not least, playing Galahad, Mr. Jonathan Pruitt. How are you, Pruitt?
I'm doing okay. This is going to be hour 8 and 9. I can't wait to get to this because usually when I start to get a little delusional, it's the perfect time to play a surreal role-playing game. So that's why I love playing Galahad, hanging around while he still can, looking for wherever he's going.
Never knowing which jump will be the jump that takes them home.
Do we have a volunteer to give a brief recap of what occurred last session, specifically the latter half, or any points that seemed relevant to your characters? Because all those are worth mining for stories potential here in Invisible Sun. So do we have a volunteer? If not, teacher makes assignments. No.
Yeah, sure, I'll go.
No! So, where did our... in fact, here's the other way to do it, is I'll ask a couple questions. So, where did your story begin?
We started meeting up at 0, I believe, because we needed to figure out where we wanted to go.
Zero's Club. Yes.
And then y'all decided that we needed to go check out this home dude. What's his name? My notes suck.
Which
Varigan.
one? Oh, yes, Varigan.
Yeah, Varigan.
Numa.
Because he might be afflicted with something, or there's rumors of that. And we got there and started looking in his house. And then a couch burst out from the house with spider legs, and this virus that apparently is starting to spread around Saturnine, infected everything in there. Noah and Galahad looked like through the back door and saw there was something in there, and Galahad zipped in, confirmed the body of our target, and now we were in the middle of a pitched battle where pretty much everybody's outside fighting a couch, and then Galahad is slowly being surrounded by all these small various instruments in the house, furniture and whatever. But yes, the spidering is spreading.
And so our story continues. Now, I have played a Sooth card to start the session. I got us to roughly where we were last time, along the Path of Suns, since we cut off, and this adventure will begin in the middle of things. So the card that we are starting the session with is The Inevitable Cataclysm, which belongs to the Swans family, Visions, Blaze, and Water, and it means bad luck, endings, and inevitability. Gold magic, the magic of rebirth and recreation, is stronger, while silver magic is waning. So as you look at your spells, if they're associated with the color for you weavers, you work with the game master to help determine the color. Gold magic is a little easier to cast and is a little more effective. Silver magic, a little more difficult. So our story begins. We're going to start. I think we should start with Babylon and Babylon's current response to the couch. Then what we'll do is, if you don't mind, we'll go Python. Tumult will show up on the street, and then we'll do Galahad inside, and then Jordan just outside. Mostly, I'm just going clockwise around my screen in Zoom to make it easier. But that'll be the order of operation. So our story begins with these spidered objects, furniture, belongings. They've all sprouted multiple legs. They're skittering about, and they are very antagonistic towards the party. Babylon, we will begin with you.
Okay, so last week we had flipped the couch over, and then it had attacked Python. So Babylon had been able to get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect she hadn't gone that far, though she had definitely like run behind like the nearest sturdy person, because Babylon's kind of a chicken shit. I think at this point Babylon would try to cast more magic, but instead of drawing the couch to her, what she would do is call on her diamond and lust aggregate to sort of tell whatever. What's the landscape look like in this yard?
It is completely overgrown. The grass is tall. It's almost as tall as Babylon is. There may be objects, possibly even individuals, hiding amongst the grass. But it is really just an unkempt lawn. And there's a small small brick wall around the outside.
Also,
Perfect.
on the couch, there's like a black shadow on the couch with the sounds of like ripping claws coming out of it.
Perfect.
Oh yeah.
What she would do is she would like call the brick wall to her and use diamond to form like a shield.
Okay. So how many sorcery points do you have? I think this would cost
the
2.
last thing cost 2 sorcery points. I have 4 total.
So you use 2 sorcery points, and it works just as you describe. Like, you seduce the wall over to you. And yeah, it just kind of comes out of position, and it almost looks like it's taken the shape of an Olympic athlete, like a speed skater, and the wall's stretching over and kind of comes between you, like pounds its chest and goes, ha! Takes kind of like a Bruce Lee stance, and waits for the couch to come in. That couch is not lasting though. It's Noah's magic is ripping it to shreds.
Awesome. Babylon just feels very like safe now. She's like, she wants to instill in this couch like the desire to protect her more than anything else.
All right. And
or not the couch, the wall.
All right, Python, you're on deck.
All right. So when last we left her, Python had flipped this couch over and was dodging its attacks thanks to the power of the cosmic serpent with coils within her. And I'd like to use Python's ability to break things, like her skill in breaking things, to just, I don't know, axe kick it or just bring as much force down as I can and see if we don't subdue this monstrosity.
All right. So this is a challenge of, I believe, it's 4 or 5. Let me double check my notes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a challenge of 5. So your die roll plus your skill plus any bene you put into there from physicality will be your venture.
Let's put in 1 from physicality.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go ahead and roll. So,
all right.
10.
Did you roll a 0 or did you roll a 9 plus 1?
This is giving me a 10. I rolled an actual 10, and then that's whatever the other bonuses that I get from it.
Okay. So the dice goes 0 to
Gotcha.
9.
In that case, I got a 0 then.
Okay. Plus the bonuses. So you're unable to flip it, but you've definitely got its attention.
Okay.
Tumult. What instrument are you carrying today?
And what do I have at hand?
All right.
I
Yes.
can't play in a chair
No.
with armrests.
You're cool. Yeah. So Tumult.
Probably my bass though.
It's coming by. Yeah, has a bass guitar and a bucket of flowers that she's selling. They're cool flowers. You should buy some. You see a large brouhaha occurring in front of a house you've often walked past. Today, it appears that a group of Vizsla, one you recognize, are in combat with a large sofa that's grown a bunch of spider legs and is attempting to tear them to shreds. However, the sofa itself is not lasting much better than them. What do you do?
Could I weave wind to sort of make the Vizsla lighter on their feet so they're harder to hit? Because I'm not really sure what's going on in this situation, or Tumult isn't, so she sort of just wants to keep people, especially people she knows, from getting hurt.
Okay, so are you going to describe... You're going to magic the couch?
No, she's going to weave speed and grace from wind and send out threads of air to sort of push the Vizsla to and fro to push them out of the way of the couch when it attacks.
Okay, are you going to push out Babylon or Pseudonym Python?
Can I push them both?
Yes, you can. That'll cost 4 sorcery points. Actually, no, it'll only cost 2, 1 for each. I think 2 will... That'll get them out of striking ways. I think 4 would, like, teleport them a mile away.
Yeah, I can do that. So I do that.
All right. Assuming they're not resisting, so Jim or TK, are you resisting? All right, you are blown safely away.
Okay.
Yeah, Tumult just plays like a quick few notes on her bass and then strums it hard, and then just wind shoots out from her and pushes them both.
What happens to my speed skater?
He's trying his best to stay between you and the couch.
Yeah,
That's like his job. He's almost like a chess piece where he's like, nope.
Oh, my little rook.
Yes. So, with that, let's pop to Galahad's turn.
Okay, so can you reset the scene for me inside the house? Like what is coming at me from which direction?
You are inside the house, and inside the house, there are several objects that are attempting to get their hands, or rather their spiderly legs on you. There is a tea kettle. There's a set of knives that actually are less interested in you, and they're more scurrying towards the front of the door. But they're also kind of getting stuck on things. They're less intelligent than the others. And there's a dresser trying to make its way out of a bedroom to come and get you. So there's really 2 objects. Not counting Noah's tie trying to devour its face.
Right. I'm going to pop out my, because I'm pretty low on sorcery points. So I'm going to pop out my ephemera wood flesh. Say, he's just going to kind of, he only has to just kind of run a circle around his face and makes a very rudimentary clock, and then makes a hand motion, and his skin kind of calcifies and hardens like a petrified forest over time. and it gives him +1 armor. And he's going to try to keep his distance, but I'm going to try to talk to the tea kettle and try to find out what it wants. Like, because these things look like they're moving with some version of intelligence, and see if he can't try to talk to this thing and communicate with it.
Just don't make any comments on its color.
Oh, I won't. I would never do that.
It doesn't seem responsive yet. It merely seems to want to inflict pain. But make an interaction check to see if you can get anything out of it.
Okie dokie. Yeah, I don't think I have anything that would affect that. Well, no, I have 3 in interaction. So I'm going to spend 1 point to give myself a little bonus there.
All right.
I rolled a 4, so it'd be a 5.
The talking to the tea kettle seems to really agitate it.
Get it all steamed up. Yeah.
But you can let me settle my tea kettle. Sorry.
I see you over there.
I just look down and see TK. I'm like, yeah. It simmers down, and it stops for a second, and you can tell it merely wants to inflict violence, but it's not too sure on what. It's indiscriminately going to tear things up. So it just kind of gouges the floor in front of you. And that's essentially the only response. Doesn't seem to have any language that you can discern. At least not a language that it would be willing to speak.
Right.
And with that, now describe to me, Jordan, how Noah's spell works. I know it's going to work every round. It's very quickly going to rip up the sofa that's out front.
It tears shadows off of all the other shadows and forms a ball of shadow over anything he wants, and he can move it around, and it has inside of it there's like the tearing of claws and teeth that rip apart anything that's inside of the shadow. And it's how much damage it says suffering damage each round equal to the spell's level, and it's a level 3 plus 1 die.
Okay. So essentially, that couch is decimated out front. It has now gotten to the point where your magic has completely overwhelmed it, and it has sustained more wounds than it could handle. And it is no more. You took care of your tie, right?
No, it's kind of like in the middle of like, I had it in my hand.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I'm holding it like this, and it's like snapping. I'm holding it at arm's length.
Okay.
When we end it.
Go ahead and describe any sort of action you'd like to take.
So I think Noah's gonna look at his tie, and then like he has like this moment of like he's kind of like disappointed because he was kind of secretly proud of having dressed up for the party, and this is like the tie that he was like kind of like he's like, oh, I'm cool, you know. And so, but he takes it and he actually sticks it into one of his pockets. And when it goes in that pocket, like if you were trying to watch him for sleight of hand, you wouldn't be able to know where that pocket was anymore because suddenly that pocket isn't there anymore. He stuffs it into his pocket, and then he kind of looks around and sees he's kind of thinking to himself that like things that weren't in the house already are becoming infected. So these aren't really creatures. There's some kind of spell going on here, or something that is animating these things because things that have recently arrived are becoming befanged. So he kind of like just kneels down and slaps his hand on the ground, and the ground around it kind of ruffles up as if it was paper in a book, and traceries go around, start circling around him, and kind of like almost like a bug zapper starts going out. But it's like you see like old pieces of paper that weren't, kind of like phantasmal sheets of paper coming out from him, and he's going to be casting counterspell. So cancel
yeah.
any one ongoing spell.
Okay. Do you know which spell you're trying to cancel?
I think he's kind of just reaching out, and anything that's like animating things or like the virusy kind of thing that he's seen.
I will tell you this much, and this you know. And I'll let you rework your action. You recall through books you have eaten and devoured, this is not caused by any spell that any magic practitioner would cast. This is, in fact, an illness and a malady, a disease that infects the actuality itself, known as spidering. And this thought and remembrance comes into your mind. These are creatures that have manifested as a result of the virus and the actuality.
Do we see any like those knives coming out the front door?
They're skittering around. After watching the sofa get destroyed, they're looking for easier prey.
Because I am fine with like losing my action because I think Noah would have tried to do that. You know, I don't want to like just rewind time just to try to make my turn go better.
No,
So I think
it's one of these things that it's one of
maybe
these things where
he starts to do that and he realizes halfway through, and then he kind of like in that same crouch position reaches out and like kind of like whisks the shadow towards the knives.
Mm-hmm. Essentially, the action, I would say. Okay, so the shadow has now caught up the knives. We'll say, right? You've whisked it towards them.
Yeah.
Your shadow's on it now. And it's one of those things. It's not so much rewind time. It's one of those things where there's no magic user or spell effect, and I think we've played this well. So it's one of those things. It's coming to your memory. It's like I've seen these things before in books that I've eaten, and it's the shadow is now attacking the knives, and now we go to the dresser, and the dresser is going to attempt it's going to attempt to attack Galahad. So Galahad, I need you to dodge. So essentially, you may take a dodge action, a 10-sided die plus any sort of movement pool you would like to spend to avoid getting dressered.
Yeah, it's one of the few physical things I do have is movement. So I'm going to go ahead and, I'll spend one out of my pool. So, plus one, D10. All right, that's a 6.
That's good enough. So the dresser kind of lunges forward, its spidery legs missing you, and it is seeking to engage you further. And the tea kettle also jumps at you. I need you to make another dodge.
So that point I spent is already spent, right? That's not like full. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will, for this round, I'm going to spend another point just to give myself a little something. Ooh, a 3.
That's good enough. Tea kettles are not very good at attacking. So the spidery tea kettle also goes past you. You know, you kind of kick Mrs. Potts out of the way. And alas, Noah, your tie that's in your hand, it's trying to get a hold on you, and it's trying to pierce you.
I put it in my pocket.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier to bite you.
My pocket is, I have this plentiful spells pockets that they're dimensional pockets, and I have like unlimited pockets that can fit large amounts of things, and it goes away, and I always can find the right pocket.
So you've got a virus in your pocket. What other things do you have in your pocket?
Ruh-roh.
See, my thought was, I thought about that, was that it goes to like this dimensional null space, not like
Going straight to your house.
Where is the null space and what else is in it? I'm just curious.
Ask Monte Cook Games. They're in the chat.
what they would tell me, just as they say on the forum, well, your answer is as good as ours. Just roll a 10-sided die for me. And let me know what you get.
I want to pull this thing out later and throw it at somebody.
The thing is, it may end up somewhere else later with a bunch of little friends.
I got an 8.
All right. That tie, you're not going to be able to pull it out later, but 8 other similar things, wherever it ends up, are going to join it. Because it's a virus and it infects things and it spreads. You've gotten rid of it, though. It's somewhere else in the actuality now. It's somebody else's problem. This is kind of like, now I know how Jim feels when I play D&D with him. I'm like, I'm going to open a gate to the elemental plane of water above the town.
Those roll on, so.
Yes. So, yeah, it's gone. There's a chance you can conjure it later. But you're going to have to convince Armida to tell you how to do that. And Armida, you notice, she was about to cast a spell. She went gray over and then kind of blinked away. She's gone back to shadow, the same as Babylon did not too long ago. So just kind of, all the color left her body and she kind of blinked out. She's gone back to shadow mysteriously.
I was like, God damn it.
So, all that's left is the dresser and the tea kettle. Over time, I think it's safe to say that the party has overpowered these things. You greatly outnumber it. You have a lot more magic than these things. Describe to me how you finish these things off.
Who?
Anyone in the party. You all can talk about what you did with them.
Yeah,
I think Noah...
basically
go ahead.
dodging and lure them into the group unsuspectingly so that they can
Corralled.
Like from the
yeah.
side.
Clever girl. Babylon jumps.
I've got a stone Olympian to do that for me.
I think Noah would kind of like get to his feet and kind of like he just saw Armida get like disappear into shadow. So he like is kind of discomfited by that. So he kind of walks towards the shadow that he summoned. And as he walks into it, it like kind of like parts.
Can I like you, Jordan?
Yeah.
Jordan?
Still here.
I can hear you, but I can't see you move.
It wasn't me, this guy. Yeah.
I see myself still. Man.
Who's gone to a shadow? There you are. You're moving again.
There you are.
So,
Might need to
Okay.
stop Zoom and come back. Might be a connection thing.
Am I back?
Yeah, but you're skipping a little.
You're
Okay,
looking.
Should I leave and come back?
You sound clean right now. It may be that there's no more latency on the line. Every now and then there's spikes. Like I watch mine, and even I earlier tonight, like it spiked up. I dropped a lot, and then it came back. But that was earlier on. Let's see how you do.
Okay. I can.
Yeah, we might have you drop and come back.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Ta-da!
and now we're gonna get to do Grant Ellis's favorite game of camera shuffle. Kika's know it now.
Okay. Cool. Hey, I didn't even move. I love it.
Did I move? I moved a little.
For those of us at home, now's a good chance to play a soothe card. Alright, so, alright, so...
I always get bad ones.
The more I've been playing these cards, the more I feel most of them are bad. Although I'm sure Monte Cook might say, no, there's joy and despair. I've pulled a lot of bad ones recently. Like, Sharong, your boyfriend's dead. And he's like, oh no, that actually makes me sad. I'm
Every
like,
time you pull the card for me, I've gotten despair.
Okay.
despair! stately Wayne Manor. So yes, let's talk about how we disposed of those spiders.
Like, say what I said before, because doubt.
Yeah, I wasn't able to hear you.
Okay, so I think Noah is like, he was still on his knees from having tried to do the counter spell, and he sees Armida like into shadow, and like Noah fucking hates the shadow, so that really like gets him upset. So he stands up and kind of walks straight towards the swirling shadow of claws that's in the doorway. But right as he's about to walk into it, it kind of like parts like a Red Sea kind of thing, and then trails after him as it goes over his shoulders towards the things that are in the house. And his eyes are like writhing with like black veins around the side, and his like teeth are flickering in and out right now.
Dun dun dun. And with that, the spider viruses have been defeated. Oh, Pruitt.
Drew and I think of the same thing. High five, gal pal.
Think I don't see the chat.
No, we know you see the chat. What makes it so delicious.
And now that the spiders have been cleared away, Varigan's body is still laying slain on the floor of the house. How do you wish to proceed as a party?
We should definitely have a look around.
Tumult waves awkwardly.
Hello. So, Tumult is known by Babylon. We have a chance to introduce a second connection if we'd like. Does anyone else know Tumult? Tumult can be found performing in bars, nightclubs, coffee shops.
She's also
stadiums.
in Secret Book Club.
She's in Secret Book Club.
I think probably Galahad would have seen her perform at some point. He's always on the move, so he's been to every place. He's seen most of the acts, and you stood out.
Did you see
No, go
the
ahead.
one that was in the Saturday show where Eric's character didn't show up, so another person came on and helped him perform?
Starter did.
Yeah.
Fantaclian.
Yeah, fantastic.
Was that the one with the bassoon, the kazoo, and the accordion act? So I think that's the one I saw.
No, that's Spider Cooties.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know the next time y'all play. I'm there.
Tumult is in like 8 bands.
I have placed on the screen for the audience and in the Discord the note. So when Galahad was removing objects from Varigan's person that he found during combat, you also have found the following note. He also has 2 mage coins on him as well. But this is a note that he has written that anyone in the party can read out loud if you'd like. The audience can see.
Dear M, I attempted to use an invocation to get us some help, but something went wrong, and now strange things are happening in my house. I'm going to leave here and go to 13 Station. Remember how Mercy said that their ghosts were there? Maybe they're still there. If that doesn't work, I'm going to beg the third hand for help. Varigan.
Haven't we investigated 13th Station, or are we going to and got sidetracked?
I thought it was mentioned at some point.
I recognize that, so...
The station was definitely mentioned by the little ghost boy, I think.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let's see. So, I don't know. That seems like our next place to go.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I think that's definitely, especially since like this was kind of for Armida, but Armida has disappeared now. We just have to follow the clues now instead of like seeing where Armida wants to go.
Presumably, this is linked to Armida's lost memory, which would be good to get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do know where the guy who was selling them is, but we seem like we're in the middle of the trail, so we just follow it up.
Yeah. Yeah, and so this is what we uncovered when we sort of like tossed the house and see what's else in there. What all's in there?
So, my question for the group, essentially, my question for the group is, where in the house would you like to search and for how long? Or are you going straight to 13 Station? Or are you going somewhere else? Where would you like to set the next scene? The Sooth card also, to answer TK's question, the Sooth card is Tyrannical Clock, which is an invisible card, so invisible magic becomes stronger, and it belongs to the Cats family.
Is there any sort of evidence or anything of this spidering virus that like we just know like that you can, it does it have a source? Is there something that triggers it, or is it just sort of a spontaneous thing you have to just deal with?
That would require,
sort of what I'm interested in.
There's a few people you could ask, and there's also your own research you could do. There's a number of libraries here in town. You could ask a doctor who might know. In fact, there's a, she's, it's Lorena, the Queen. Let me find her name real quick because I have it written down. She's a reoccurring NPC. So her name is Charlotte de la Reina. She's a local doctor who has a practice not too far from here. It's further down on Dallahan Street. You could always check in with her. But you would need a referral. You might be able to talk. You might be able to talk. An apostate will never be refused treatment or admittance, though. So you have one of those.
We happen to have our very own apostate.
He did just go to Magic Prom, so he should probably get checked out.
That's true. That's very true.
You gotta be worried.
Perhaps
In those cupcakes.
Now's a good time to... Yeah, go ahead. No, I was going to say, now's a good time to explain, too, how damage and rest work, since some of you took wounds during that combat. 3 wounds and you're dead. Your character dies. Injuries become wounds or anguish. You can heal a wound by using your rest actions. So it's safe to say that if you wanted to, Babylon could use their rest actions to remove the wounds that were sustained. Likewise, in combat, if you take a wound, you can spend a physical bene to prevent it, which I did not know when we first ran combat. That's why we play, and we learn the rules of the game. So I wanted to add that out there if you had taken damage, that you can heal yourself now.
Okay.
As everyone's kind of talking, Noah also kind of goes, "Oh, who's this?" And like kind of like points to Tumult.
I'm also
Like,
standing there nodding, pretending to know what's going on.
yeah.
like helping Babylon up out of the grass. Is she with you, Babylon?
Spider Party, I love it.
Babylon will look over at Tumult and be like, "Oh my god, it's you!" And she'll go like this.
Like,
It's
Noah like physically shrinks into himself a little bit.
Yay! This is one of my 5 best friends.
That's a lot of best friends.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's more than I have.
I think you could have more.
Well, okay. How many do you have, gal?
4.
I only have one. You know that.
I know. It's me. Oh my God, how are you? What are you doing? What's going on? What's happening? What's going on in your life? What are you doing?
I wrote a song for the Nightmare Man. I made a suit
Wow.
out of moonlight,
Oh.
and right now I'm selling flowers that I weave out of songs.
Oh, okay. Well, we had some hallucinogenic cupcakes and fought a couch.
Yours doesn't sound as
Also,
fun.
have you seen Fantaclian lately?
Yes.
How's he doing?
Last I saw, he was good. He was very nice. He helped me perform. And so I gave him a flower, and then we weaved a spell together.
Cool. Okay, well, if you see them again, just like let them know that I'm out of town still.
But you're here.
But I'm not gonna be when you see them.
Okay, I think I can follow that.
Awesome, thank you. You're such a doll. She's such a doll. Isn't she such a doll gal?
Yeah, she's
It's
the
funny
apple of your
because
eye.
she's a ball joint doll.
And the whole time, Gal has just been
Does she look like a ball joint?
Yeah, she looks like a ball joint doll with like limbs that are just long enough to be kind of unsettling, and she's
Oh my
wearing a
God.
Christmas sweater and a skirt and a beret.
Is she like super tall and graceful like the ball joint dolls that they have at like the beautiful conventions?
She's super tall and awkward.
Okay,
When you say
well,
ball joint doll, do you mean like the faceless like artist ones?
She has a face.
Okay, I
Like-
thought you like not those posable model ball joint dolls that for
No.
drawing.
like
Okay.
the Japanese ones, right?
I
Yeah.
guess I
The
don't know
Japanese ones. Oh man, I'll send you a picture later. They're beautiful.
It's a Google
They're-
search for later.
No, they're beautiful. I'll send you a picture later. Whereas Babylon looks like she looks like Cynthia from Rugrats. I've decided in this moment that like Babylon has always been like really threatened socially by Tumult, and mostly because Tumult has no idea that she's like gorgeous, and Babylon's just like, oh cool, that's fine, no, that's great, awesome.
Tumult takes out a book of teeth and holds it to Babylon and says, "Book club."
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Can I have this one? Is this one?
Yes,
Can I have
book
this one?
club.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And she'll like clip it in and clip another one out and put it in the box.
Is Babylon in book club now?
Sure.
I guess that
Babylon's in
means
book
she's
club.
invited to book club.
Neat.
I feel like that had a deeper meaning behind it.
TK also feels that. Babylon just like, oh, this is for me, as is my birthright.
First rule
Yeah,
of book
teeth.
club is you don't talk about book club.
Book club
Thank
had some things go down on Monday.
Oh no.
So while all of the introductions are happening, Gal is in the background, just like, kind of like, yeah, like, you know, answering Babylon, but not really looking. And he's looking around, looking for evidence of this invocation and what possibly that he used to cast this. And he will look downstairs and upstairs in the bedroom.
Okay, so you know invocation is spoken. These are
Okay.
some things that you know. Varigan was not that powerful and attempted to use magic beyond his comprehension. You did find the 3 ephemera objects that I noted last week. You found the mage coins. You've managed to find a note. And there's also a book that you have found called The Secrets of Adherence. There's no author on the book, and it seems very, 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 very gripping. While you also search the house, and it was at this point that you began to feel the house kind of groan from within, and it kind of felt like eyes were forming on the ceilings and the walls.
Oh shit, we gotta get out.
Yeah, you also managed to find a monograph of an invocation, a beseech invocation, which I can reveal more about later.
Okay.
While they're-
Yeah.
Well,
I was
you
like,
know what
what?
kind of
No, go ahead.
Noah kind of just casually reaches into like one of the shadows by like the edge of the house and pulls out kind of like a long handful of shadow and starts like tying himself another tie from it.
You gain a point of joy from replacing your tie with a shadow tie. No, go ahead, put that down.
The house is quivering. Is what
Yes.
you're saying?
Throwing
House, you have to
eyes.
Get up and start walking.
And you all gain 2 acumen for defeating all those spiders. Yeah, but the house, it almost feels like it's about to rupture and spider itself.
We should probably back up. At the very
Yeah, we
least.
need to
Gal, get out of there, Galad.
And before Python finishes the sentence, Galahad's standing on the front lawn.
Did you find anything in there?
Galahad brings out the book and the mage coins, and I found an invocation.
When you an invocation is essentially an appeal to a much higher power for assistance. Now, this particular one is the beseech.
Noah's kind of like clears his throat nervously, and he's like, that.
Oh no.
Megatron,
Still clearing his throat.
Like a
I'll get you,
different-
Prime. There we go. Hey there, Jordan. It looks like you popped back.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, there,
Okay.
there you go.
Yeah, we missed your last sentence.
Oh, just Noah was getting a little twitchy book and was like kind of starting to fiend a little. He's like, that look. Yeah, what is book there? And he's like pulling on his collar.
Well, I don't know. We should have a look at it. Would you mind if we maybe looked at it before you did, though? I mean, I'm not judging, but you know.
I mean, I could always tell you about it, or
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't understand. No, why don't you just
It's
write
just-
down everything that you eat? Then you could eat it, and
because then other people can know it.
it's like sharing a meal with others.
Mm.
It's not, just
And he
a
just
thought.
gives you this like incredulous look.
Just a thought.
But then other people have a hand in it. Other people are controlling the taste of it. Other people are saying what it becomes.
That's part of the point, though, Noah. Just to have others have a hand in it. But like I said, it's a philosophical argument for another time. I think. Galahad, maybe you look at it last, Noah.
And Tumult just take the book, say book club, and then sit down on the ground and start reading it.
The book that Galahad found?
Yes.
Galahad, are you going to allow her to read the entire book?
Well, how long is the book?
You estimate at the speed which Tumult reads, which is pretty fast, it'll probably take her a solid day to get through.
All right, but I got dibs on next.
Okay. So where would you like to set the next scene? So you can go see the doctor.
Sure.
You can head to 13th Station. You can take some time to recover. You can procure other things around town. And you have many other leads to many other side stories. Or many other adventures that are possible. Go ahead and decide what you'd like to do next.
Well, I mean, I don't see why we can't. Babs might need a little bit of a rest after
Yeah,
that.
she needs to down some tequila until she feels better.
Yeah, so maybe we should rest and regroup. That way Tomo can read the book at their leisure. And
Oh my gosh, Tumult! You can read the book at my house. It'll be fun. We'll have a sleepover. Please, please.
you could read it out loud, and then we all can hear it.
please. What? Why would I want to hear this stupid
Oh.
book?
Well, I mean, you know, because then it would be kind of like our own little mini book club. We could-
Okay, Gal, don't be weird. Come on. Like, we already have a weird nerd. Oh, Tumult, he eats books. It's weird. He has a sad girlfriend. She has a pet rat. I don't know. See what I have to deal with when you're
Noah
not
kind
around?
of just rolls his eyes and
Tumult just
where is-
looks up for a second, then looks down at the book and like hesitantly tries licking it and just like
Oh, ooh, girl, no.
Is that how Tumult marks their property?
No. She's trying something new and it just didn't work out. Here's a Tic Tac, sweetie.
Tumult definitely eats the heck out of that Tic Tac.
It's not really a Tic Tac.
Oh no.
Let's say, would you bring that back?
Oh no.
What is it?
It's the spider virus.
No, it's just like a small little bird.
Oh no!
She just picked it up from Bubbles McPherson.
Oh, it's one of those little ravens?
Oh, so you fly.
Tumult!
Yeah, it's just
You're
some
now
drugs.
floating skyward.
Oh.
You can kind of control it. Kinda. But it's a new
Tumult just
sensation.
steadies herself with wind and then just
Yeah.
rights herself, sits cross-legged in the air and keeps reading.
See, there you go. Doesn't your mouth taste so much better?
She chirps.
You can tell she's actually a little irritated by like this turn of events now.
Yeah,
She's like, okay, well.
You've sprouted black feathers around your eyes that kind of just have formed. And yeah, you're more or less steadying yourself with wind, but I don't know if you've ever tried to steady something by blasting it with air.
Now she just looks even more
You're doing a
beautiful.
pretty good job. Yeah, you're kind of like this weird spirit.
The long hair is just flowing in the wind.
Yes, of course. Now she just looks more beautiful and mysterious.
Admirers.
Howl's moving castle, like feathers.
Oh my gosh, no.
Meanwhile, the house is turning into a monster behind us.
Yes, the
We're
house is...
ignoring it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Babylon torments her old sorority sister.
So let's talk about
You just
sort
throw
of
a
the...
sheet over the house.
It grows legs and walks away. So
Oh, there's that.
yeah, let's talk about the. So Babylon needs rest. Tumult's going to read the book. What about the rest of the party? What are you going to do over the next day before you reconvene? And think about what your character would desire to accomplish. Broader goals as well as shorter-sighted.
Gal is going to reach out to his contact in the Makers because there are some people that he needs to find out who they are. And this gold coin that he received from this real estate mogul guy, Leo, that's his only connection. So he wants to reach out and try to at least get an audience with them.
Okay. Go ahead and make an interact roll for me.
And this is after we rest, right?
Yeah, we can assume that this can be a day later, 2 days later, several hours later. It's still relatively early in the day. It's barely noon.
Okay. Okay, so that's a 6 on my interaction roll.
All right. So you've managed to come into contact with two makers, members of your order. The first is Jacques, and the second is Drew. So Drew Davison and Jacques Baubert. They are both makers. Jacques' head is like attached to a jack-in-the-box accordion, kind of. It kind of flails about, and then every now and then he cranks it down. And then Drew, his hands are both. They're both. I want to describe. One's kind of like a flugelhorn, and the other hand is very much like a puppet, like a Punch and Judy puppet. And every now and then he sticks the puppet into the horn, he listens, and comes back. Now, although they look strange, they are very talented makers. They are a higher degree than you. Jacques is a third, and Drew is a second. So what sort of information do you want to get out? And they let you know they've seen a couple of those coins going around.
This coin right here.
That coin right there. They ask how you got it.
It was given to me. It was given to me by a Mr. Was it Leo? Benjamin Leo. Apparently, he wanted to honor some of the war heroes from before in the troubled times. I need to find out where these war heroes are. Is there a way to track these coins or something of that nature?
You know, I bet we could spend a week or two and fabricate something that would allow us to do that. I mean, you have the metal right there. You know the source of it. I bet we could make something. This sounds like an excellent project. This sounds like an excellent project for... do you want one of us to take it, or do you want to take the shop to yourself? It's kind of an old maker shop where you're allowed to fabricate your things. So I'm giving you the choice here. You can delegate it to one of these other makers. They're happy to take on the project, or is it something you want to tackle yourself personally?
This is kind of personal, and Gal has been, he's made a few things here and there for the party and all that, but he's been roaming a bit as of late and not really making as much, and losing that part of himself and what he's losing of himself actually, he feels that maybe making something would help him find himself a bit, which is his arc. So he'll do it.
Okay. So we'll handle sort of your process of making it off camera and kind of go through your maker pipeline. What about Python? What's Python up to while this is going on?
So there's a couple of things on Python's mind. I mean, number one is following up with 13th Station and definitely wanting to be a part of that. But she's also, like I said, she doesn't know anything about the metagame. Speaking for a minute, she doesn't know anything about her forte, and other than these dreams that she's had since coming back from Shadow. And so I think like what she's wanting to do now really is find out more about the Cosmic Serpent. What is it? How is it related to the what is the other one? The Angular
Angular Serpentine.
Right. Mm-hmm. The Angular Serpentine. Like, how are the two related, if at all? And is this thing in her, something to be fearful of, something to embrace, or right now she just wants to know more.
So, okay. If you had to pick one of the three, would you look to seeking to learn from someone who has more knowledge than you in the subject? Researching on your own through periodicals, popular fiction that always has a kernel of truth in it, or would you like to go deep into a library, bookstore, etc.? So do you want to learn from a person, learn from popular works, or do you want to do more of an academic study?
She's already researched at the Vancian archives, and I think that she's ready to talk to someone, and would be looking to find someone who knows more about it and maybe can offer some insight, at the very least to sharpen what she already knows and provide her with a bit of direction.
Make an interact roll for me.
Oh my god. I'm going to use my 1 point in that. Do I even have 1 point in it? I don't. I have no points in interact, so I'd say raw roll. It's a raw roll. 7.
Okay. So there is an individual you can speak to. And the individual you can speak to is an apostate. Their name is Ratika. And Ratika says they'll give you the information you need, but they're going to want a few things from you.
What sort of things?
There's several documents in the Vancian library, and we'd very much like you to bring them to us. They're really trivial things. There's multiple copies of them. It's not like they'd
miss them.
They would not miss them at all.
What are they?
So, there is a book called The Left Hand of Vizsla. And there's a second book that's a little harder to find called The Right Hand of Vizsla. Bring me both hands, and I'll give you the information you want on the Angular Serpentine and the Cosmic Serpent.
Very well. It might take some time, but as you said, if there's no way that they'll miss it, then it's just a matter of patience. I'll get them to you.
Okay. What's outside of resting and drinking? Babylon, do you drink alone, or are you meeting with someone else?
I have Tumult with me like the whole time. We're besties right now.
Where are you guys headed? Are you just hanging out together?
I don't
What
know.
do you
How long
do?
how long does it take Tumult to read her book?
A whole day.
Oh my gosh, a whole day. Whoo, boy.
I think Tumult like wove a thread of moonlight between her and Babylon, though, so she's sort of being pulled around like a kite
Yeah.
or like a
That-
balloon.
Yeah, that sounds right. And obviously, like, Babylon's like talking the entire time that they're like walking around, and she's like got her little balloon, her balloon weaver. Well, and of course she'll remind or she'll tell Tumult that they absolutely can't go to Zero's bar because that place is so rude and the food just isn't good. Like, why would we go there if, we don't even like it there? We should go to the Godega. We should do that.
It's worth adding, Tumult, that you played at Zero's last night and the food was incredible. They paid you well, too, in advance and
yeah.
afterwards.
She probably also saw the Babylon not welcome sign.
Yes, you also saw a sign that Babylon has been banned from Zero's.
Tumult is just like really kind of confused by this, but doesn't question.
She's probably known Babylon long enough to know that Babylon is perpetually that drunk bridesmaid. She's just like a terrible bachelorette party waiting to happen everywhere they go. You want to go to the Godega?
I suppose.
Yeah,
There's
let's do that.
also- There's also the Temple of Bronze and Starlight.
I'm sorry, what?
Grant, am I allowed to make places up on the fly?
Describe the temple to me.
The exterior looks like a big, like a bronze turtle, but inside it's like it's basically like a nightclub that's a really fancy bronze and brass amphitheater with a giant bronze organ on stage and the pipes are made of crystal, and then there's also a bar.
Oh my god. Oh no, I love it.
Yeah, that's exactly where you go.
Yes!
And that's now a place now. The Temple of Bronze and Starlight. Make sure you get that one in your notes.
Yeah, I will.
What's Noah up to while all this is going on? So Galahad has begun the process of fabricating a device that will allow him to track the missing coins. Python's going to have to snatch two books, The Right Hand and Left Hand of Vizsla, from the Vancian campus. Supposedly, there are many copies of this. Babylon and Tumult are partying at the Temple of Bronze and Starlight. And I'm really curious what Noah's up to.
So Noah kind of like sees everybody about to go on their own thing, and he kind of like does that whole like going with them, but he kind of like turns on his heel and walks the other way. And he goes to either a bookstore or a library and starts doing comparative research on the plagiarism by the Vances on that book. And he's getting all the information and the evidence lined out and like side by side, and all the like the first, all like the citations and everything. And he's working on an expose that he's going to then feed to as many newspapers as he can.
So you, while you're doing this, you gain a point of hidden knowledge. So hidden knowledge is kind of like Bene. You can use it to solve problems later. You have a hidden knowledge stat that is associated with your foundation. Yours goes up while you do this.
Okay.
And as you're doing this, you notice your research is beginning to walk away from the paper. Like your words, they're trying to get up off the page and get away. Almost as if someone's manipulating your research and trying to do away with it. What do you do?
I think Noah begins to tear. He takes a book out of his jacket, and he begins just to tear pieces off of it, like crumbling crumbs, and then he spreads it out onto the table, and then he like kind of like lays a hand on both sides and like sends magic through it, trying to start like a null magic space, like work bench top, where all the little pieces of torn pages are kind of like burning into ash and then like settling down into like this, like almost like when you make a static free mat to work on electronics.
Yeah.
But like with the burnt book magic, kind of like so all the words are contained inside of it, and then he moves his work onto that.
Okay, you've managed to protect your work. In the bookstore, you notice 3 individuals who are very prominent now, and they're almost getting in closer. One is a swarm of insects that makes up the form of a woman. The second person is wearing a pinstripe suit, a little top hat, and you can see beneath his clothes a rose glowing within his chest. And the last person looks almost exactly like you, except your face has been replaced with that of a spider. They're just kind of watching.
And so these people are just also other patrons.
They're just other patrons, but you have picked up on the fact that they watched you do all of your research without any other interference, but they seem to take notice of you. You are their research.
Noah kind of spins around, puts his elbows on the bench behind him, kind of like leans back, and just goes, "Can I fucking help you?"
They move in closer and they say, "How much for your research?"
It's not for sale.
Not yet, they say, and then they slink out. They leave a black business card on the table and exit.
Noah kind of like takes a pencil and like pokes at the business card.
It grows spider legs and no. We've already done that. We've already seen that episode. You poke it, you notice in the center of the card there is an even darker, and it is it's like a flat black. You know, if you've ever calibrated a monitor, you have all the different gradients of darkness. This is about as dark as it gets, but there's an even darker letter C in the middle of the business card.
Fanta Black.
That's metal as fuck.
And with that, Tumult, after reading the book, you got 2 points of hidden knowledge. After you finished reading that. Galahad, you have finished making your gold coin tracker. How does it look? You're muted!
I would just like to think that it's an attachment to my mighty craft, and so with a few switches and flips, noise emits from nowhere. Lights just appear on it, and he begins just like holding it up and panning around the city of Saturnine until it starts to ping the nearest coin.
The nearest coin is in. It's actually. There's a nearby beach where the clouds sleep on the sand. They're lazy. They're protesting. They don't want to hang up in the sky. And it is there.
Oh, they aren't serious clouds. Gotcha.
No, they are not. So there's the place where the clouds hang out. And that is where the nearest veteran who has a coin is hanging out. You know another Vizsla that lives near there named Estelle. She's a friend of Tumult's. And off yonder is where the clouds hang out. And there's sort of a like a giant arm and hand building. And that's where one of the veterans is, but he's cast powerful magic to ward anyone from detecting that he's in there. However, while you can't detect him, you can clearly detect that coin that he has.
Okay.
So you know he's there, and he's in hiding. When is the next time the whole gang gets together, and where, and why?
I propose a new place.
Absolutely.
Oil Paint Alley. Basically, it's an alley that looks like you're walking into an oil painting.
Perfect.
A
I second
perpetually
this.
raining oil painting.
Oil Paint Alley.
Yes.
Do you just hang out in the alley, or is there a
What are we gathered
place?
that for?
Yeah.
And how would
'Cause you're
Noah
there.
know to get there?
Someone's got to send for him.
I think
would know-
Tumult would probably send flowers on the wind to the other people to inform them of this place.
Makes sense. Pocahontas it. That's fine.
Here's a question. Who
Noah
the-
shows up like holding a flower like this, and he kind of just drops it in the alleyway as he comes in.
Oh, no.
It just dissolves into sparkles as it falls.
Oh, that's perfect. You're a magical girl now.
It spins around, and Noah is in his battle costume. Jim, did you take those 2 books from the Vancian campus?
Yeah, I
You-
mean,
you
if,
found
if
them.
they're just able to take them, yeah.
You can.
Now the left hand. I mean, I recognize these 2 sort of phrases, right? Like they click a bell for Jim. I don't know if they click a bell for Python.
They do. You know, this has to deal with angels and demons.
Right. I will flip through them and read them before I give them away.
They are clearly grammar books, and grammar being an expression of magic and how magic is cast. And it seems to deal with... one has to deal with artifacts of the legacy. She is gone, but her legacy remains. It has to deal with the all-knowing creator. And the information you're discerning is that at some point in time, the creator cast a spell which created all the actuality. You are slowly approaching that time. You're a little before it. When you read the right hand, there's other forces that are also attempting to get to that same time, but their motives seem quite dark.
The right hand path, the ones described there. Is there any mention of the angular serpentine or anything like that in the 2 books?
Make an intellect check for me.
Ooh, I'd be happy to. I will use a point from that. And a 6. So I rolled a 6, and then I just put a point.
Here's what you do know. the entire time you're reading, you're starting to put together the dots. It echoes some things you already know. You know that the angular serpentine is essentially a very powerful entity, possibly demon, that goes through all the city of Satyrine. All of it. You know that the angular serpentine was in power before the Deathless Triumvirate, which is kind of 3 godlike entities that are running Satyrine now. I'm going to put their pictures on screen for the audience. There are words that are going into your memory and being taken from you as you're learning. Just the same as people showed interest in Noah's research.
Right.
And you get the feeling that this campus is not safe right now.
I stopped reading the book and I put them away. What color of magic is supreme right now? Do we have a Soothe card on deck?
We do, and the Soothe card on deck, we actually should play another one, and the next Soothe card on deck is Invisible. And it's red magic. So we're on the Invisible Sun, and red magic is supreme.
It's auspicious. Red magic is the magic of violence and of destruction. Pseudonym Python casts visions of my nemesis. I can read the spell if you need it.
I'm familiar. So this is what you know. You see the form of a hooded man. His features are very male, and he identifies as such. His name evades you, but you've seen him before in Satyrine, in Fartown, at the Vancian campus, at the Goetic Hall of Records. His nose stretches out about a foot, and on the end of his nose is a mask. The mask does all the talking. And he is a dealer of deals. And he wants to make a deal with you. But, at the right time and the right place, and right now he is assessing Pseudonym Python. Mm-hmm. He has information about the Angular Serpentine and the Cosmic Serpent, whose power you summon. But his path would be quicker than handing over those 2 books to an apostate.
Mm-hmm. The apostate, the fact that they're an apostate doesn't bother me that much. But I'm curious, is there any clue about where this man is, this long-nosed masked man?
You know he can be found in the more dangerous alleys of Fartown.
I happen to know someone who's familiar with some of the alleys around Fartown. We were recently introduced. And so I will pack up the books and make my way to Oil Painting Alley.
Okay. Do you remember Bubbles McPherson? Bubbles McPherson knows. He would be able to get you in contact with him.
Okay.
A charlatan.
Talk to Bubbles. Then, and I cast that, it flees from my mind prison as I release the spell into the wild and receive this vision. And Pseudonym Python makes her way with haste to Oil Painting Alley and everyone else that's gathered there.
So the party gathers in Oil Paint Alley. There is a theater there. I think it's a good opportunity for the gang to see a show that night. The theater is one in which a great prestigious group is performing. The Singing Banana Slugs of the Actuality. Thank you, Colin Valknet, for introducing that into our campaign. They have an opera house. They've left the opera house. They're performing there. I think that was actually a tribute to Darcy Ross, who's in chat. But yes, they're performing. They're little, so you kind of need to look with binoculars. and they're really, they're going over the creation myth of the actuality. It really ties into the books that you were reading, Jim.
Mhm.
And you notice they're acting out. There's certain scenes where they're forming kind of like a dragon in a parade of the angular serpentine. They're reenacting the war that was fought for the actuality that ravaged Saturnine. This is kind of like hitting home with Galahad at certain points. And it is during intermission at this show that we have the opportunity to go over our character summaries, because we're ending a little early tonight, and talk about what our characters were feeling during certain scenes and sort of where they want to go next. It sounds like the party would like to investigate 13th Station. We should have Armida back from Shadow next week. But let's sort of go through. Let's start with Galahad.
Well, it was a interesting night. Learned a few things, made a few connections with my makers, so that was fun to finally get to. Pushing forward his story and trying to find this person. Already, the fact that they're locked up gives him pause. They've surrounded themselves with warding magic. So he's starting to step a little lighter and look over his shoulder a little bit more. And so it gives him a bit of apprehension for the future. But he's trying to figure out which of his new friends he can trust the most to maybe go stake this guy out and meet the first of these coin holders. But that's where Galahad is right now.
And how about you, Tumult, played by Kika?
I think Tumult was sort of surprised to just come across people who just immediately regarded her as a friend. So she's kind of happy about that. Got to spend some time with Babylon, even though she was reading for most of the time. I think Tumult just, once she finished the book, just immediately handed it to Babylon and said book club. Yeah. So I think all in all, she's feeling pretty good about this. And I think she feels a bit comforted in knowing that other people are also sort of tangled up in weirdness in a way, Like she was feeling a little overwhelmed with things on her end before, but coming across other people that are working through things sort of makes her feel more secure in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's interesting. I've put a note in our chat that we gotta have that. We gotta play out a side scene of the wild night at the nightclub, the temple with Babylon and Tumult. And for Jordan,
we have
had
questions.
there was an apostate that told Jim he wanted him to steal, or her, he wanted Python to steal books from the Vancian campus. There is an apostate that has research that's similar to yours, that believes the same things, and may have some information and insight into the same people that you encountered while researching. But those are for sightseeings. And how about let's talk about how Noah's coming along. Summary for the session.
So I think Noah was kind of caught up in the battle and then was kind of taken aback when Armida just disappeared into shadow. But then it was like he was able to stop himself for a moment and be like, no, this is good, because like he started to realize he had started getting too caught up in these people's lives. And now that Armida isn't there, and that's the person who he had promised that he would help, and that's why he was coming along, he's able to take a step backwards and be like, no, maybe I need to like put some distance between me and all these people, because none of them are leading me towards the things that I actually want to do. So that's why he went off and was like pursuing one of his goals of like, exposing the corruption of all the churches and the choruses. So I think he had a moment of like, I don't know if, like, I think I need to rethink what I'm doing here, you know.
My question is Noah going to be the one that pulls Armida out of shadow?
I mean, I think he definitely, if he knows how to do that, that would be something he would do.
He knows someone who can.
You just have to
And
slow
he,
mo
and he,
run
and
it.
he I think Noah would definitely, because he feels like, I think Noah sees Armida as something that he just needs to like finish so he can get on with his life at this moment. Like he needs to like get her to where to like to find her memories and stuff so he can like just tie a bow on that and like walk away from it, because he feels like it's like this becoming this messy thing that he hates, and he wants to get back to his pure pursuit of power and secrets.
And Python might have some information that she has learned through her research that will be of import to that goal, as Python is slowly learning more about.
Depends if Python ever tells Noah about it, though.
There's
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if if the other schools want to tell an apostate who wants to eat the god of
We have
magic
not,
how to get there.
we've not established what kind of iconoclast Python is. Who her, icon that she's classing against.
My headcanon is Python's going to flip and go apostate, and
there's a strong. She's headed in that direction in some sense, yeah. So like last scene with Python then is she's read these books and has this sense of someone, some nefarious force of will on her, and in her sanctum sanctorum casts this spell and receives this vision, and then as she leaves to go meet with everyone else in the alley, she's removes her copper scale veil that she was wearing, and I'd like to think whereas if a shadow was to fall on her, instead of it being a shadow, it reveals the polychromatic scales of the serpent that coils in her. That's what she looks like now. What did she learn? I think she's knows more now about this power that she has, that she didn't before, and suspects a greater force at work, stealing. There's people's memories are being stolen. Knowledge is walking away, and it's all somehow tied. Galahad is slowly, literally disappearing. There's something at work, and it's related to the spell that was cast at the dawn of time. This in her mind, that's what she thinks.
And it's one of those
she also
things.
Wants to check out 13th Station because her friend needs her help.
It's a good place to set the. Yeah, go ahead.
I also think that there would be a scene where Noah had gone back to his house and he was just trying to like read a book and ignore everybody, but he kind of like keeps getting up and closing the book, but then like going to the door, but then going back to sit down and read his book. He's like, no, but then finally he puts the book down and like walks out of the house like he's gonna go find someone to get Armida out of shadow, but he spent like a good hours like trying to like just read a book and not do it.
Yeah, and I think the close to that scene is Thomas the Ghost appeared over your shoulder and said, "You kind of miss him, don't you?" Fade to black. Can't get away from Ghost Boy. So that's our session for this week. It's ending a little early. We have some obligations to meet this evening, but let's go around to the cast and crew and see where we can find each other online. And we'll go in reverse order from what we just did. So, Jim, how was that session for you, and where can we find you online? We got the correct Twitter handle for you today.
Yes, we do. The real Jim Davis, not like that fake Garfield drawing Jim Davis that you might have heard of. So I am one half of WebDM, where we have a YouTube D&D and tabletop RPG advice show and the like. Obviously, we have a Twitch channel as well, and a Patreon where you can listen to our podcast. I feel like every time I play, I'm learning more about this game and really embracing the fact that the player is in the driver's seat, which is a frequent DM or mostly lifelong DM is a difficult mental transition for me. So in a way, I like this game because it's a challenge and forces me to think and play in ways that I'm not used to, which is why I love it. So there you go. Looking forward to any time we get a chance to play. So there we go.
And how about you, TK?
Hello, I was not making fun of Noah in the chat. I was not doing.
Who would do that?
No one. We're not singing REO Speedwagon in the chat, I promise. It's TK. All right, spooky stories on the internet. Go to my website, tkjwrites.com. Go to Twitter, TK Joins the Fray. Tuesdays, I am on Don't Split the Podcast. Wednesdays and Thursdays, I'm here. For this last Sunday, this is the last time we are doing our finale for Hell's Bells this Sunday. That's exciting. It's a good time. Fridays, I write storytelling advice for newer DMs on tabletoptest.com. I just got confirmation that our print proof is being shipped to Kayla Klein, which means this month we will possibly be releasing Samhain, which is our Holly Conrad approved Strix comic, written by me, illustrated by Kayla Klein. Lots of fun. That's it. I hope you cry. That's about it. Okay, bye.
For those of you that are unfamiliar with Kayla's work, just know that Kayla is God. As I like to tweet, Kayla's artwork is amazing and inspiring. And where can we find the hottest singles in our area? Jordan Shively.
You can find me doing the Dread Singles Twitter at Hottest Singles. But instead of checking out all the other stuff I do, everyone should go check out that Monte Cook Games is going to be doing a Kickstarter for this game so you can get it because it's out of print right now, and everyone should go check that out.
Absolutely. Big fan of the Kickstarter that's launching, I believe, on October 23rd. Definitely follow them. They have newsletters, and their website's pretty good. When the new Kickstarter goes live, I think it's going to be phenomenal. And if you missed it the first time, just understand this is your chance to hop on board. It's great game. Really enjoy it.
Don't miss out.
And Kika, thank you for joining us tonight. Where can we find you?
You can mostly find me on Twitter at twitter.com/KikiVO, but if you hope that I will stream again eventually, you can follow me here on Twitch at twitch.tv/Kika, that's twitch.tv/KIKKA. And yeah, I'm mostly just on shows. I have been making a Sylvan language, which I hope to release as soon as I can figure out how to format a good PDF of it and stuff. But yeah, just follow me on Twitter and I'll give you the news on what's good.
I have some updates on that I'll share with you after the stream.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I have a copy of it now, and I can help assist. And last but not least, Mr. Jonathan Pruitt.
Thanks for running the game for us tonight, as always, Grant. It was a lot of fun. Thanks, Kika, for being on. You were an amazing guest. We have all of our Twitches and stuff that Jim talked about. The only other thing I want to talk about is on Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, I will be over on the Scraticus channel playing a little Cypher. It's so good to be getting back into that. So I think we're going to play basically the Strange. So that's a fun, interesting setting. And I like to. It's a evolutionary step right before Invisible Sun. As I was reading through it, it seems like.
Yes, it's Bruce Cordell pushing the Cypher system to its very limits. I dig it.
Yeah, I will be playing a strong Vector who regenerates tissue. So I look forward to taking my hands apart and then reforming them. That's how he will fight, basically, like Wolverine. So.
And as for me, my name's Grant Ellis. I'm an independent content creator for tabletop role-playing games. I'm doing some design work for 2C Gaming right now. I'm streaming 4 Invisible Sun campaigns on 4 different channels. I'm a producer here at WebDM for their Twitch channel. Definitely support them on Patreon. And if you'd like to support me in the shows that I produce, I also have a Patreon that I will drop in the chat. Again, our sponsor is Tabletop Loot. check them out at tabletoploot.com and use the code WebDM15 to get 15% off dice, shirts, mugs, etc. And thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.